of the platforms needed by our warfighters today. With that, I'll yield with the ranking member, Ms. McCollum, for any opening remarks she would like to make.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, gentlemen. But a special good morning to you, General Saltzman. This is your last appearance before the committee, and you're my first Space Force person, and so that I worked with for so many years. So thank you very much for taking me with on the journey to stand up this incredible group of men and women who work under your command. We're going to be scrutinizing what is a historically large budget request. For years, we've been hearing that the department needs to be focused with its defense dollars on the challenge of the Indo-Pacific. But we've been anything but focused on China. We've seen major operations this year in our southern hemisphere. And of course, this budget drops as the president has taken our nation to war in Iran, which has not yet been authorized by Congress. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz has made energy prices go up globally, and it's increased the cost of living. Everything from what my farmers are paying for fertilizer to the fuel that they're putting in their tractors as they go out to the field, let alone what everyday Americans are doing gassing up. The president says we can't afford to help American families with daycare or funding of Medicaid or Medicare because we're fighting wars. Well, I strongly disagree with the president on this analysis. There are many competing priorities. Your department is just one of them. We have to work to justify every dollar that you have requested. Mr. Secretary, I believe that you've worked very, very hard from our conversations to prioritize the requests. But you have to admit the numbers that the American people are hearing about are eye-popping. Air Force and Space Force, the request would increase by $92 billion. And that increase alone, to put it in perspective, is the entire budget of Commerce, Justice, and Science appropriation bills. General Saltzman, $71 billion for Space Force would be 3 times the size of the NASA budget. So we have a lot of questions for you. I just want to, because of the amount of time that we have, especially for you, General Saltzman, you talked about your need for scientists and engineers. And for me, that's why we can't cut STEM, and as we call it in Minnesota, because we include the arts, STEAM. That's our higher education funding for your workforce. So I'm curious to learn more about your plans to grow the Space Force and stand up the new program officers. Mr. Chair, and in the interest of making sure that everybody gets a chance to do anything, I am going to yield back.
I thank the gentlelady, and with that, we'll start with your opening